is in continuance with the India-Canada story. India has now taken reciprocal action. A senior Canadian diplomat has been expelled by India. In fact, the High Commissioner of Canada was today summoned by the Ministry of External Affairs and informed about the decision of the Government of India to expel a senior Canadian diplomat based in India. The concerned diplomat has been asked to leave India within the next 5 days. The decision reflects the Government of India's growing concern at the interference of Canadian diplomats in the internal matters of India and their involvement in anti-India activities. Let's try and see if we can go across to our reporters, either Siddhant or, of course, Abhishek Jha for that matter. But what we do know is that a senior Canadian diplomat has been asked to leave the country. This decision has been conveyed to the Canadian High Commissioner Cameron McKay, who was summoned to the Ministry of External Affairs just about half an hour ago. The decision has been conveyed to him. This senior diplomat, who is yet unnamed, has been asked to leave India within the next 5 days. So we don't know who this diplomat is or at what level it is, but certainly the note from the government suggests that he is a senior level Canadian diplomat. Anand is now joining me from the newsroom. So Anand, any more details on who is this Canadian diplomat who has been asked to leave India?
The diplomat has not been named. I'm just going to bring out the official communique that's been issued by the Ministry of External Affairs. This is the Ministry of External Affairs Government of India website. Let's see if I can just zoom this in a bit so it's more readable or legible. India expels a senior Canadian diplomat. Dated the 19th of September 2023, the High Commissioner of Canada to India was summoned today and informed about the decision of the Government of India to expel a senior Canadian diplomat based in India. The concerned diplomat has been asked to leave India within the next 5 days. This is the operative part. In the next 5 days, the decision reflects the Government of India's growing concern at the interference of Canadian diplomats in our internal matters and their involvement in anti-India activities. So it's like quite literally a quid pro quo. They're saying we'll treat you the way you treat us, Zaka, and this is a very, very strong message because many experts believe that it is Justin Trudeau who's committed a huge blunder by shunning diplomatic niceties, and now it gives the Indian authorities a free hand to go after these key elements, especially their operations closer home, while blocking their visas and also snatching their properties, etc. But this perhaps is the first of the statements where India is saying, we are not going to blink, we are actually going to stare back and stare back harder.
All right, Siddhant is also now joining us. Siddhant, so any more details you're picking up from MEA? These are pictures of the Canadian High Commissioner who was summoned at the South Block just moments ago, leaving the South Block. He was, of course, conveyed. The decision to expel this senior Canadian diplomat was conveyed to the High Commissioner Cameron McKay. He will now have to convey that to this concerned diplomat, who will have to leave India within the next 5 days. So, Siddhant, what are you picking up from the MEA?
Well, that's right, Zaka. And, body language says it all. Look at the body language of Cameron McKay at the time of entering the building of Ministry of External Affairs. And within 2 minutes, he was out of the building. So, whatever was conveyed to him, what was conveyed in the 2 minutes, and he was asked to return immediately. Now, we have been told by our sources that a senior diplomat at the Canadian High Commission in India will be expelled, and perhaps it's a quid pro quo that India is following, and the allegations are saying that the Canadian diplomat was interfering with the internal matters of India. Zaka, it's not India which has escalated this entire issue. Perhaps it is Canada which has escalated the entire issue. First, they decided not to send the trade mission to India. Then there were statements coming from their leaders, the incumbent ministers, against India. And today we are getting to know that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau himself announced in the House that how India is interfering, or perhaps making accusation that there are some credible allegation with a potential link to the government of India with regard to the killers of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Now, Zaka, there has not been any substantial development with regard to the investigation of the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. And because of the failure of Justin Trudeau in the domestic politics, perhaps this is the reason that he has again selected a country which is India to push entire blame, so that he could be seen as fighting for the people of Canada with India. So that is perhaps the perception which
Okay.
Mr. Trudeau wants right now.
Siddhant, give me a moment. We're also getting some information courtesy our investigations editor Manoj Gupta about some more details on the nature of the role that's played by this Canadian diplomat who is based in the High Commission here in New Delhi, who's now been asked to leave India within 5 days. Anand Narasimhan has more details on this. Any more further information you can share, Anand, on what is it that this diplomat did that now stands him expelled from this country?
Well, this is the information that we have. Our grounds of the diplomat expulsions are very strong, and it has been in the authorities' mind for a long time. Like I said, Zaka, it is Justin Trudeau who's now committed a blunder by shunning the diplomatic niceties, giving India a free hand, saying the onus, it was all started by Justin Trudeau. What we are given to understand is that Indian authorities are very clear and convinced that this Canadian diplomat was involved in identifying many things, possibly including targets and also workers for top gangsters sitting in Canada. And the charges against this diplomat are very, very serious in nature. So the Indian authority is saying that we've been actually sitting on it for a while because we've been trying to be nice to Canada and saying we don't want to shun diplomatic niceties. But Justin Trudeau, perhaps because of political compulsions and his trailing ratings or falling ratings ahead of the elections, he's taken a hard stance against Bharat. But what has happened is we've just turned around and said we'll come back and hit you harder, and we've been waiting for it. You've allowed us the opportunity, and this is just the beginning. One gets the sense, Zaka, this is just the beginning, because there is a whole huge docket around Nijjar and his entire associates and his operations, and also their trails back on Indian soil. The crackdown will only get harder, and it will become increasingly difficult for these K elements to step onto Indian soil now.
All right, Anand, we'll leave it at that.